Hello, my name is Casey Lovett, and today I'm going to tell you what my career is, which is an emergency room physician. What emergency physicians do? They diagnose and treat injuries or illnesses. The illnesses are usually life-threatening due to the fact that the physician is working in the emergency room. And obviously, since they're in the emergency room, they have to act quickly. They have to think on their feet when they have people come in. Education requirements. So you first obviously graduate high school, and then you start off with your bachelor's degree, which is your undergrad. And usually, as a doctor, you major in either chemistry or biology because as you want to be a doctor, you have certain requirements for biology classes and certain requirements for chemistry classes that you have to have. So it's just easier just to go ahead and either major in chemistry or biology rather than majoring in, I don't know, say drawing and having to take your drawing major as well as all those other biology classes. Like you can do that, but usually they just major in biology because it's easier. And then after you obtain your bachelor's degree, you will actually, your junior year, you take the MCAT. So the MCAT is the Medical College Admissions Test. And what it is, it's basically like an SAT for med school. You have to have certain score to get into certain med schools. You have to have a baseline score in order to get into any med schools, that kind of thing. And then you attend med school. And in med school, you learn about all the different fields. You don't really pick which field you want yet. You learn about all of them, get the gist of all of them. And then you obtain either your DO, which is your Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine, or your MD, which is a medical doctor. Now, it doesn't really matter which one you obtain because with both you can practice and they're considered equal. And then after you graduate med school, you complete your residency. And within your residency, it's usually about 6 to 7 years, depending on what kind of doctor you want to be. And you practice in all the fields. So 2 weeks you'll be with an OBGYN. The next 2 weeks you're in the emergency room. You practice all the fields. And then your last 2 years of residency, you kind of determine what field you would eventually like to practice in, what fields you are most comfortable in, what fields you would want to go into. And then is the career outlook. This is a chart of all the 50 states and it's the employment of physicians and surgeons. It was posted May of 2016. It's from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And as you can see, obviously California, Florida, Texas, they're going to have your most number of employment rates, the most number of physicians, and then up in the east, northeast is kind of also higher. The job salary. The national average for an emergency room doctor is $248,465 a year. That's from Glassdoor. Obviously, that's going to vary upon what state you work in, if you're working in a hospital, if you're working in an urgent care, or if you're in a city like New York City, or if you're more rural like you're in Wyoming. That all varies into play upon how much your salary is going to be. But that number, the 248,465, is just kind of like the baseline, the average of it. The job duties. So some jobs of an emergency room physician is they update charts and patient information. They order tests when patients come in. They then review the tests. They recommend and design a plan of treatment, and they address concerns or answer questions that patients may have about their health. The work environment, obviously a hospital, which would be the ER department, is where the emergency room doctor is going to work. They're usually full-time. They have long, irregular, and overnight shifts. And when they're not at the hospital, there are certain times when they're going to be on call. And so that means that they have to stay in a certain radius of the hospital they work. And whenever their phone rings to go to the hospital, they have to drop everything and they have to be at the hospital. Because usually something happens in the emergency room and they need more help or something like that happens. Some skills you need to be an emergency room physician is good communication skills, because obviously, as you know, an emergency room can be very hectic when certain things happen. So you need to have good communication skills to talk to the doctors around you, talk to the nurses around you. Compassion is a big one, because when people come in, they don't want you like monotone, like, what's wrong? What do you need? Like, they want you to be compassionate towards them. They're in a time of emergency. That's why they're in the emergency room. You need organizational skills, so everything runs smoothly. You need good leadership skills, and you also need patience. Some fun facts: the emergency medical care accounts for only 3% of all healthcare spending in the United States, and that came from the American College. And then the emergency room actually treats 120 million people per year. And this is my works cited page, but now that you know a little about emergency room physicians, that's what I hope to be. I hope this kind of has taught you about what it is, what they do, and you're interested in it as well. Thank you.